Alpha Pokemon are really cool. Debuting in Legends Arceus, these extra large, extra aggressive Pokemon immediately became iconic for the franchise, and they've remained a fan favorite feature despite only ever appearing in 2 games, one of which only releasing last year. Alpha Pokemon have a few big things going for them that really help them out with their popularity. First of all is the rarity. Now I know that there are some static spawns for certain Alpha Pokemon where they are 100% guaranteed, but having this state be possible on almost anything at a rare chance really adds to the extra excitement of just stumbling across one, especially when it's also a shiny. Secondly is the personality of the Pokemon. Being Alpha causes Pokemon to behave differently than they normally would. It makes them a lot more aggressive and causes them to stand out a lot from the other Pokemon of their own species. My encounters with Alpha Pokemon have always become a lot more memorable, whether I have to sneak around them, fight them head on, or I'm just running for my life. And thirdly, having an exaggerated sized Pokemon is just fun. There's a massive size difference between an XL and an Alpha. You'd think you've seen how big a Mega Scolipede can be with your XL size, but then you get an Alpha one, and you just watch it as it consumes the entire camera. From the people that I've spoken to and my own opinions, these are just some of the reasons as to why we love Alpha Pokemon, and what it does for Pokemon on the larger scale. However, after playing through Legends EA and then revisiting some older Pokemon games, it's made me realize something. Extra large Pokemon have a counterpart, one that's been left in the dust since they don't have an Alpha equivalent. That being extra small Pokemon. And I think it's time that these XS sizes get a similar treatment. So let me introduce you to my concept of Runt Pokemon. Runts are a new smallest possible size a Pokemon can be, exaggerating on the smallness of a Pokemon while the Alphas worked on the largeness. XS Pokémon are already really small, like they are tiny. The extra small Pokemon I already own, I just really like looking at them, because there's a lot of personality inherently in just being really small. It makes any Pokemon look cuter, and I mean any Pokemon. And the idea of this thing getting even tinier, it just makes me intrigued. Now in the wild, Runt Pokemon are going to have to behave differently as well, since they're going to need their own overall personality, and that is going to be very timid and scared. These guys are frightened. Runts aren't Alphas. They're not going to charge you down or start fights. No, they're going to try to avoid anything at all costs. They will run away from you if you're not careful. I feel like this gives a good amount of extra personality without feeling like a lesser version of an Alpha or too similar to a regular Pokemon, but it also still leaves a challenge to catching the Pokemon. With Alphas, the difficulty is their strength, but with Runts, it's evasion. And before you say it, yes, there are some Pokemon that naturally just flee as a species. But this is a similar case with Alpha Pokemon, as there are Pokemon species that are just naturally aggressive like Alphas are. The greatness of this comes from the ability to have these personalities on Pokemon species that typically wouldn't act like this. Like imagine heading into a hyperspace distortion only to be met face to face with a Tyrantrum, and then you watch it run in the opposite direction like its life depends on it. Alphas and Runts could even have unique interactions with each other in the wild. Alphas could try and protect the Runts, with the Runts hiding nearby or behind the Alpha waiting for the threat to go away. And of course, Runts will probably have a similar spawning pattern to Alphas, that being a random chance on most spawns, but with some static encounters for some fun moments. Like turning the corner in a spooky mansion, only to end up scaring the ghost type that you thought would scare you. These would also just be fun to try and shiny hunt too. The community loves shiny hunting Alpha Pokemon, so why not give an extra option? We could even have a term equivalent to a Shalfa, like a Shrunt? Okay, maybe not. What do you think of this concept? Would it be something you'd like to see in the next Pokemon Legends game? And would you approach this idea differently? Let me know in the comments. I'd really like to see your opinions and even a discussion stem from this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.